Doctor Who is coming to Disney+. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So it was recently reported that Doctor Who will be streaming on Disney Plus as of 2023, in line with the new series of Doctor Who with the new Doctor, Ncuti Gatwa. Now, whilst the BBC and Bad Wolf, who are owned by Sony, will retain creative control, Disney Plus will basically distribute it to a wider audience, meaning that no longer are the days of having to watch it on BBC One and having international audiences have to wait for the syndication. Now, historically, BBC was working with ABC and was basically using BBC America and ABC to distribute Doctor Who to the American audiences. Now, that deal no longer exists. They have parted ways and are now distributing through Disney Plus, which honestly is better, because this means that everyone in the world can watch Doctor Who as soon as it drops. Now, what does this mean for the future of Doctor Who? Well, Disney Plus now have a vested interest in the property and will be investing money into it, meaning there will be a much higher budget for things like VFX. Having the show on Disney Plus as well is going to mean that it's going to be seen by a much larger audience. And although ratings for Doctor Who on BBC One have dropped in the most recent years, those ratings aren't going to mean anything. Because quite honestly, the BBC could have 30 people watching, it could be seen as a commercial failure, but on Disney Plus you could have millions and millions of people watching and it would be hugely successful. This is the power of distribution. Doctor Who is, in a way, being regenerated. You've no doubt already heard that in Jodie Whittaker's final episode, she regenerated into none other than David Tennant, the guy who played the 10th Doctor, meaning that David Tennant is now the 14th Doctor. And we will be seeing him and his adventures along with Donna Noble and a whole array of other people from that era back on our screens in 2023 for the 60th anniversary special. All of this is being helmed by none other than Russell T Davies, who is coming back to save the sinking ship. Speaking of sinking ship, Doctor Who has tanked in the ratings over the last few years. Jodie Whittaker's opening episode had 11 million viewers, and slowly as the series progressed, that number dropped. Now, you could argue that it was the story, it just wasn't interesting. But maybe, just maybe, and this is going to link in with the Disney Plus deal, people just aren't watching the BBC anymore. Young people today don't have TV licenses because there's no point in having one. In the UK, we have to have a TV license. I know it's an archaic thing, but essentially you need to pay £12 a month if you own a TV, and you can receive live channels such as the BBC, ITV, Channel 4, etc. People nowadays, especially younger people, don't watch live television. I don't watch live television. I have a TV license because every now and then something will pop up and I will watch it, such as Doctor Who. But now it's going on to Disney Plus. What's the point? I don't need to pay to watch BBC when I can watch it on Disney Plus, which I already pay for. And that's where my idea comes in. Was it the writing of Doctor Who that really tanked the ratings? Or is it a shift in the social paradigm of how we view content? Is everyone just switching to streaming services because they're a lot easier and often cheaper than paying for cable television? In the UK, there are two major television providers. You have Sky TV and you have Virgin Media. I cannot tell you the last time I watched anything on either of those platforms. But I can tell you when I last watched Netflix and when I last watched Disney Plus. And I think that's the key. Audiences are now switching to streaming services, and the BBC know this. That's why they struck a deal with Disney Plus. They want more eyes on Doctor Who, and it just makes a lot of sense. Young people aren't watching the BBC. Fine, let's put our most valuable product, or one of our most commercially successful products that we own, onto a platform that is going to be seen by millions. Now, there are other factors at play. They've brought back Russell T Davies to helm the ship, who famously brought back Doctor Who in 2005 and made it the commercial success it has been over the last 20 years. Now, Doctor Who was always popular. It's been going since 1963 and it always had a core audience, but it was never as popular as when Russell T Davies helmed the ship. Since he left, we had Stephen Moffat and Chris Chibnall. Ratings slowly dropped after Russell T Davies left, and the BBC noticed. So he's come back to try and revive the show, to regenerate it, to regenerate Doctor Who. I personally am super excited about the 60th anniversary. I've already made a video on basically what's going to be happening in the 60th anniversary based on set leaks that we've had. And if you want to see that, click the card up in the top right there. But sadly, we will be waiting until November next year before these specials drop. But it's not all bad because we're going to be getting 3. But let me know what you think. Are you excited about the future of Doctor Who now that Chris Chibnall has left? And I also want to know your opinions on why you think the ratings went down. Do you agree with me that it's potentially an issue with people just not watching the BBC? Or do you think the main thing was the storytelling? I think both of them play a factor, but I'm leaning more towards people just want to watch streaming services. But I want to know what you think. But if you're new to the YouTube channel, make sure you hit subscribe and press the bell notification so you don't miss a single video. Whilst you're down there, consider becoming a fully fledged SciTrekker. Hit the join button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you next week.